Welcome everybody. Great to have you here. As I kept telling myself coming here today, this is a celebration for Chuck Hiatt. And try and put as many happy faces on there as possible because he sure gave us all a lot of happy faces. So it's just the turnout here alone, I think you all see what an impact Chuck had on everybody here. And it's such an honor for us to host an event like this to honor one of our own. Chuck was one of those spirits that touched everybody, I think, who he met. I've only known him 3.5 years. He was on the original search committee here for me, and that's why I knew he was brilliant to begin with. Hey, wait a minute. But Chuck was like a brother to me, and that's when he was economics. I was an economics person as an undergraduate, and it was just so nice to be able to talk economics and joke with him. We were spin buddies, and everybody's like, I'm not talking weaving with yarn. I'm talking one of these things up here with the spin club that Bob Zielinski is going to talk to you a little bit about. But we used to spin next to each other. I was only part of there's over 6,000 miles here. I was part of the 100. I wasn't there as much as Chuck was, but he just loved to spin, take care of himself. But what a spirit. It's been a hard month. I lost my dad a month ago, and then to lose Chuck too. Chuck felt like a family member to me, and that was hard. It's all of you here at the college. To me, is a family. It's our second family. We spend probably more time here than we do with our own families. So you get connected, you care, and you love to see the passion that all of us have and the things that we do every day. And Chuck really exemplified that. This person volunteered for committees. I think the joke was that they gave me a whole bunch of notes, and I was looking at them going, I just can't read speeches when I'm talking about someone like this. But when it comes to volunteering for committees, I've never seen anybody in any department in all of my years raise their hand first. He was on every single committee. Now, I don't know if he's just trying to get out of work and I'm going to do committee work all the time. There's something I need to know about. But he was always volunteering, and service was just a capital A with him. When we started the Service Excellence, the Patriot Pride Initiative, he was one of the first ones to raise his hand on the first team to help out. Because he exemplified that caring spirit that we have here at CF for our students and for each other. That was him. I'll never forget the campaigns with the foundation. How many campaigns with the foundation did he volunteer for, but then co-chaired with Cheryl? I think the best one, Cheryl, is when in the video, he practically caught you from falling with the ice skates on. You were both in ice skates, and Cheryl's like, ooh, he caught you. I heard the one with the disco globe, dancing under that one. I never got the chance to see that one, but I heard that one was a great one. But all the annual fund campaigns he helped out with, it just talks about the spirit and the positive energy that Chuck had for all of you and our students. Over 20 years, I asked the staff, let's calculate just how many students' lives he touched. Just in the classroom alone, it's in the thousands, over 12,000 students. Now, let alone the students outside, always where he's talking to them, walking between buildings, so we all do, trying to help students around the community. That's just something that he really cared about everybody. And that's why, to me, today is about celebrating. I don't believe Chuck's gone. And my personal belief is he's here with all of us, and I know it's hard. Having suffered a loss recently, it's, that's part of it. I think we're all selfish, and we want that person here to see every day and to see that smile and make a difference in our lives. But his spirit is always with us, and I know he's with us today. And he's very thankful about wanting us to make sure that we continue the great work that he was doing here, and in terms of reaching out and helping other people. And that's something that I'll never forget with Chuck. That's something I take with me forever. His ability to help and connect and his positive energy. Now today I was thinking about, what am I going to wear today? I could wear a suit, I could wear a t-shirt. I think it's Chuck. I need to wear the silliest t-shirt or tie that I have. I was looking in my closet because I know I had at least a couple of silly ties, but I couldn't find any because they're all over here on this table up here. Chuck loved a silly tie, and I didn't realize he had so many of them. I mean, it's incredible. Now I know why when I go to stores I can't find any. He had the market on all of them. And he loved to have fun in what he did. And that's something that I think is really important. Have fun in what you do, care about the people you work with and the students that we're helping in our community, and be a member of our community. The other thing is my thumb is going to be turning green. I've been planting and trying to do better gardening thanks to Chuck. First time we came over to the house, he was so proud. Jim, I got to show you this stuff over here. And I'm like, holy Toledo, how much gardening you got back here? Greenhouse, everything. That's something that I just remember. Every time I'm planting and doing stuff in the yard, I always think about Chuck and how he loved to do that. So it's a lot of great memories. I think there's so many memories, and today's about that. Share those memories with each other and keep sharing and telling those stories. That's what Chuck would love. When we go to spin class, when I get there, and I know, Bob, I need to get there more often, I ride Chuck's bike. I mean, that's the bike. It's an honor to me to ride on that bike because he's got so many miles on it. Of course, when I first got it, it about broke. It's like, I said, Bob, this thing's got more miles on it than any other bike in the room. But we've rebuilt it. We've made it better than ever to keep that memory on. I was thinking I was going to ask the guys if they could bring the spin bike over here and put it right here. And I'd just be talking while I'm spinning. I don't know if that would count for the mileage, but probably not. That would not count. But I thought that those are the kind of things you think about when you think of Chuck. Just how great he is of a person and how much of a warm spirit he was with everybody. And that's just a short time I've known. And a lot of you have gotten to know him for a long time and what a wonderful person he was. I never even knew about, had a chance to talk to him about his service in Vietnam. That's something I would have loved to know a little bit more, and maybe we can talk about that a little later. But today's a celebration. So we're going to talk about the celebration part of his life and how much he impacted everyone here and in the community, and how much he touched all of us. And it's something that sticks right here, and I'll never forget it. This is the way I see him. I mean, this guy always had a smile on his face, and that's what I love. So if I ever think the chips are down, I just think about Chuck, because Chuck would always put a smile on my face, and you can persevere through anything. And so that's what we're here for today. There's a lot more stories, but we've got some other folks that are going to come up and speak. And I think next up, Kurt. Kurt, you out there? Yep. Kurt's one of our faculty members, and also CEO of our childhood services group in town, of which Chuck spent a lot of time helping out with. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. I don't like speeches either, and I want to make it as personal as possible, but I didn't know how I would do. I've known Chuck for such a long time, so just bear with me. It's an honor for me to speak to you because I come from a unique perspective that a lot of people here may not have on Chuck. I worked with Chuck in several different capacities. And one of those roles that I worked with Chuck was he joined my board of directors in 2004 at Childhood Development Services. And over 12 years, he served in multiple capacities on the board. He was secretary, and then he was on the executive committee, and then eventually became, rightfully so, our board president. And he served in that role for several years. And I just wanted to make sure everyone here was aware not only of Chuck's contribution at CF, but also his contribution to the community and all the work that he did. So I just wanted to point out two key factors that are personal to me, but really had a significant impact on the community. When Chuck joined my board in 2004, we were a smaller nonprofit. We basically served 5 counties in Florida. And under Chuck's leadership and through his dedication and all the time that he spent with me and my management team, we expanded from 5 counties to 42 counties across Florida, from Miami-Dade to the Georgia border. So a significant accomplishment considering all the budget cuts from the federal level, the state level. And during that same period of time, I wanted to point out one other thing that has a real economic impact to our communities. Along with our expansion across the state, we were also able to expand the number of job opportunities that my organization was able to offer. So when Chuck joined us, we had a little over 200 employees. And under his leadership, we were able to expand to nearly 400 employees, creating jobs, benefits, and opportunities for lots of people. And then also the community impact that we had. And I attribute a lot of our success to Chuck's dedication and time and we would work on business plans, and he would help us with audits, and he really spent lots of time. Like with any project he took on, he took it on, and he did what he needed to do to be successful. So Chuck, the consummate professional, would always show up an hour before any scheduled meeting. And I got to spend many hours with him one-on-one, and it always ran like this. The first half of our hour, we would talk business. He wanted to make sure he was prepared for a meeting, that he knew what his role was. And the second half always boiled down to him giving me fun stories and experiences that he had in the classroom. And he would always preface it by saying, this is just a select few. No names, but, and one day he turns to me and said, you should become an adjunct at CF. And I said, no way. That's ridiculous. I've listened to your stories. I remember you telling me about the guy walking in the middle of class with the bag of McDonald's and starting to eat it and wondering what's wrong. The girl falling asleep in the corner, you having to slam your books down to wake her up. Or, of course, the young gentleman that decided he needed to chew tobacco in the middle of class and spit it out. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And spit it out in a cup and disrupting class. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. And he said, you know what, that is just a very select group. Overall, the students have been phenomenal and are very dedicated. And so I said, thank you, but no thank you. And then he calls me up shortly after that and said, we're expanding from our associate's program to a bachelor's program. And lo and behold, there's a nonprofit operational class. And he said, that's you. You're going to do this. And so he dragged me kicking and screaming, very reluctant, and after listening to a few of his stories, and he graciously spent time setting me up, making sure I was ready and prepared, and wow, what an experience. Not only joining the CF family and all the relationships I've formed here, but I see why Chuck was able to spend 20 years and dedicate so much time and resources, because it is so rewarding. And I know he experienced much more than I did, because I've only been here for 4 years teaching as an adjunct. But I still have students from my first semester calling me up, hey, can you evaluate my business plan? I'm starting a business, I'm getting an advanced degree. And just the opportunities that we're able to give students, he saw that connection, and I have to thank him personally for everything he did to drag me here and ensure, and he saw a connection, and he wanted me to experience what he did. You know, I leave with 2 overriding thoughts, and I'm almost done here. 2 overriding thoughts with my time with Chuck and the different roles that we've spent together. First and foremost, he was always a consummate professional, dedicating his time, always making sure he was prepared, and comporting himself in a way that just exuded professionalism. And secondly, of course, as we talk about, and you see on the pictures, that infectious laugh, that smile that permeated the room, always reduced tensions and made people feel at ease. So I'm just hoping that with all the time that I personally got to spend with Chuck, that just a little bit of that rubbed off and on me, where I'm able to impact other people the way he impacted me. So, Mary Kate, I just want to say thank you for allowing Chuck to come out and play with us for so long and spend so much time with us and giving of his time and allowing me to come over to get signatures. And I thank Chuck so much for everything he did for me and for CF. Thank you. Thank you. Next, I believe Bob Zielinski has some things to say.
And I'm bringing my better half with me.
That's for sure.
As you can see behind us, a large part of what Chuck did is significant on this SPEN program. We would just like to take a minute to mention what a wonderful contribution that Chuck made to the indoor cycling program, better known as the SPIN program. He started his riding on August 3rd, 2009, and our first look at him was, oh boy, here's a challenge. You got a business and economics professor entering the world of fitness and exercise. This is going to take some work. Well, we could have not been more wrong. And as Shelton from Big Bang would say, you can't be more wrong. Wrong's an absolute. Well, Chuck was an absolute. Absolutely dedicated to his riding, absolutely dedicated to his fitness, absolutely dedicated to all of us and all around him, and absolutely a good friend. He met every challenge with enthusiasm and energy over the 6 years he rode, earning t-shirt after t-shirt, earning his 1,000-mile jacket, earning his 6,000-mile blanket. He loved to talk about his riding. He loved to talk about the benefits he was getting. He tallied 8,261.9 miles. Just think about that. He rode the equivalent of going across the Atlantic Ocean, across the African Peninsula, and then ended up in New Delhi, India. Well, if we initially thought that Chuck was a challenge, one day he brought Mary Kate. Oh my. Chuck loved nothing better than to see Mary Kate and me go at each other. He would see us get started with some bantering and just sit back and pedal with the biggest smile on his face. Even giving me lots of assistance, telling me when she was going shopping rather than coming riding, telling me what songs she absolutely hated when I was playing my music so I could play them more often. He would double over with laughter when Mary Kay would raise her arms in the goalpost position, which was signifying we're done with the workout, it's time to stretch out. Only problem was we were only halfway done with the ride. He would just laugh. And then there were Halloween rides. I think Chuck's absolute favorite time of the year. We blackened the room, we put up decorations, and Chuck brought in life-size mannequins, fully dressed witches, not you, Mary Kay, set them on the bicycles. He and Mary Kay were also fully dressed in costume and loved the music. Chuck was our do-everything guy in the spin room. He got there early. He set up reserved bike signs with people's names that he had made. He brought in tools so we could do the renovations and the repairs and the replacements. He had a key to the spin room for some reason, and we could never figure out why his office door key opened our spin room, but there he was to open those doors and get everyone prepared, covered the times that we were running late or maybe guest instructors. And if you've been in the spin room, you've seen the cartoon strips on the walls, which Chuck cut out of Wall Street journals and all kinds of newspapers to provide some comic relief. Mary Kate, Chuck is going to be remembered in our little corner of the world. And with your blessing, we are going to install this plaque in the spin room. This plaque reads, in memory of Charles Chuck Hiatt, 8,261.9 miles. A spinning partner whose dedication, friendship, enthusiasm, and commitment have inspired us all. July 2015. Thank you. And if Cameron Andrews talking about talking.
Good afternoon. It's really my pleasure this afternoon to read someone else's words. Nancy Apsher asked me if I would read a letter that she wrote. And I, of course, told her that I was very honored to be asked and would be glad to do that. So, as hard as it is to imagine, looking at me, these are Nancy's words. My dearest Chuck, I can't believe it's been 20 years since you and Mary Kay walked into my life. I knew then what I know now, that we were so lucky in finding you. I can remember our first few phone conversations when you were still in Michigan. I knew then that you would be a solid addition to our department and excellent in the classroom. What I didn't know was what a wonderful friend you would become. I hate it, but it's time for me to tell you goodbye. But before I do, I need to tell you a few things. I have always been jealous of the faculty members who teach subjects that students are passionate about, things like music, drama, philosophy. You, my friend, did not fit into that category. You tackled one of the toughest subjects for students to grasp, economics, and inspired your students to learn about those edge-of-your-seat lessons like supply and demand and how the World Bank works. And you managed to do it in a dynamic and interesting way. I've read your evaluations. I know that you've had a positive impact on so many students' lives. You not only prepared them to continue their education in the field of their choice, but you have showed them how to evaluate their role in the economy, a true life lesson. So in the classroom, know that you made a difference. That brings me to your leadership. I don't know of another business and technology faculty member who mentored as many of our instructors, both full-time and adjunct. You set such a wonderful example for all of us. You embodied what a faculty member should be, professional. Sporting your signature tie, you participated on almost every committee on campus. You volunteered throughout the community. You were known for being the voice of reason at Faculty Senate, and sometimes at our own faculty meetings when things would get out of hand. Know that we recognized you as our counsel. You were the one that we would defer to. You're the one we wanted to emulate. Please know, my friend, that you were our mentor. Since you left us, we have been trying to do things that would have made you happy. We started with creating an endowed chair in your honor. A week before you left us, we created the Charles P. Chuck Hiatt Endowed Chair. You will be the first faculty member to have an endowed chair named for them. Keeping with the Chuck tradition of participation, the Business and Technology Department will make it a goal for the 3 years we're raising funds to have 100% participation from our faculty and staff. I am sorry, old friend, I cannot be as pleasant as you were about raising funds. I may flip into the tall, angry blonde woman down the hall, as a former faculty member referred to me, while we marched towards our fundraising goal. We also couldn't say goodbye without making you dessert. Look at the table in the room, old friend. We all made your favorites and labeled them as a tribute to a man who loved dessert more than the food that preceded it. We will keep you in our hearts, so know, my friend, you will not be forgotten. I have to laugh, and looking over your faculty self-evaluation that you sent me to proof, you listed both chief coffee maker for the division and candy manager in your contributions to the department. Your contributions to us were so much more than making us coffee and helping us keep our weight on. I don't think I ever told you this, but I have always been a little envious of Mary Kate. You were such a true gentleman, and you did special things for all of us. I know about your random acts of kindness, whether it was leaving pieces of chocolate on Lori's keyboard when you deemed she was having a rough day, propagating plants from your garden for us if we wanted to try them in our yards, loading and emptying the lounge dishwasher every week because you didn't want to bother the staff, running the Hyatt shuttle so we didn't have to drive to graduation, or waiting for any faculty member that taught on Wednesday night to make sure they made it to their car. On a side note, did it ever occur to you that I only taught on Wednesday nights because of you? I will miss sharing a cup of coffee with you and discussing whatever book you recommended that I read. You touched all of us in your thoughtful, loving ways. Please know, Chuck, that you were loved in return. That brings me finally to saying goodbye. Keep the garden growing on that side of the gate. Tell Jerry and Ed to behave themselves. I'm sure they're trying to make you play golf and kayak in the afterlife. Remember, you can always say no, something you had a problem doing while you were here. Don't overdo it on the stationary bike. I don't even want to think of the number of miles you're accumulating. Know that we will take good care of Mary Kate and Pippin, and we'll keep a long distance eye on George and Maggie. Know that we love you and we'll miss you terribly. Love, Nancy. And Mary Kate, I think suffice it to say, everyone here and beyond will be carrying a piece of Chuck with them. We're going to start a PowerPoint slide with some fond memories of Chuck, but we also want people to begin to mix and mingle. You don't need to stay glued to your seats to watch the slides. So thank you very much for coming. And again, here's to Chuck.